Hey guys, Luther here from Luther's Woodworking. Thanks for stopping by my YouTube channel. Got a nice project for us today. It's going to be a toy tractor. I've had this pattern for about 30 years probably, and just going to do a video on it. It's a very easy project to do. And let me just turn the camera here and I'll show you what we got going on here. Okay, so hopefully you can see this. Now, this is the tractor that we're going to be doing. Very simple design. Basically just one body part here. And then you got all the wheels, steering wheel, and stuff to put on. I'll have a PDF file in my description below so you can trace the pattern out, print it out, and trace it out. Here's the pattern right here. The one I will post will be a little better than this. But basically, it'll have some information on for you. But you can just trace the pattern out once you download the pattern. Now, just to talk a little bit about this tractor. This is actually an inch and a half thick tractor. There's a couple ways to achieve that thickness. And the way I do it is two different ways. One way is you can just use a piece of 2x6. It's already 1.5 inches thick. Put the pattern on it, and you can get the tractor traced on that. That's one way. The only thing with a 2x6, and I don't use a 2x6 for this pattern, is because 2x6s, 2x8s, they always got the knots in it, imperfections in the wood, you know, so I kind of like to stay away from that kind of stuff with my toys. So that's one way you can do it. I'm not going to do it that way in this video. Another way you can do it, and if you watch a lot of my YouTube videos, you'll see that when I want something 1.5 inches thick, I'll take two pieces of 3/4 inch wood and glue it together and get that 1.5 inches thick. Now this is clear pine, a little bit more on the expensive side. But I like the clear pine because there's no knots in it, no imperfections. When you buy a piece of clear pine, it is a very nice lumber. So that's what I use on a lot of my toys. There's a few toys that I will use a 2x4 or 2x6, but they're probably smaller parts to the toy. But for this, we're going to use two pieces of 1x6, and then we'll glue them together, and then I'll have my pattern I can trace on there. Now, I already glued, let me just move this, I already glued some wood together here, and this is how I do it. I just take two pieces of wood here and glue it together with these C-clamps, like this. And we'll take these off of here. So we got our piece of wood here. Now this is 1.5 inches thick. You don't have to worry about the glue squeezing out of the sides because we're going to actually just lay this template on there and trace around it. Now, one thing with this tractor, you got the hitch area in the back here. The hole that goes in the hitch area right here. What I like to do, instead of, I know when you do this toy, you might want to try to get as many tractor templates on a piece of wood, you know, and you might want to turn your tractor to get it to fit so you can get as many as possible. What I do is I just cut a piece of wood big enough to hold this template, because this hitch right here, which will have a hole in it, I usually have that close to the bottom. When I put this on here, I'm going to have that close to the bottom, and I want that hitch parallel with the bottom. And I'll explain to you why here in a minute. Let's just trace this pattern on here, and I'll show you how easy this is. We're just trace this pattern on here, Now, I've had this pattern for over 30 years. A lot of my toys, I'll look at a picture or something, or I'll look at a real tractor and just draw it out. This is a pretty simple, basic tractor. Not a lot of parts to it. And then don't forget, you got to mark where your holes are for your wheels. And then your 1-inch hole here for the motor, and then there's another hole up front. Okay, so once you got that traced on there, and you can see I got that traced on there, what I said is there's going to be a hole coming in this tractor right here. Now, if you can see that, there's going to be a hole coming in this tractor. The reason why I like to keep this parallel with the bottom of this piece of wood, because I can set this piece of wood in my drill press, and I can take and I can drill down. I can drill down right here in the middle, if you can see this. I can go like this here, mark out where that hole is going to be. I can drill down and drill this hole out before I cut this tractor out. That way you're not trying to drill that hole after this is all cut out. And you can do the same thing with this 1-inch hole. Cut this first, and then drill this out. And you can do the same thing with your axle holes for your wheels. Drill them first. So you want to drill all your holes in this tractor before you actually cut it out on the outline. So that way you can get nice clean holes, and it just looks a lot nicer. So that's how I do that. Now, this tractor, the back wheels are 3-inch wheels. I will have the information for them, these wheels, up in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. And then also, and let me just set this here, you got the 3-inch wheels in the back, and these are 2-inch wheels right here. I'll have the information on the screen, upper right-hand corner for the 2-inch wheels. For that, this size of wheel actually looks really nice for this tractor. You will need a steering wheel for the tractor. Now, on this tractor that I made, I just used a wheel and an axle peg to use a steering wheel. And all these parts are at craftparts.com, and I'll have that link below in the description. But you don't have to use a wheel for the steering wheel. You can actually buy steering wheels. You can buy steering wheels at that craftparts.com, and you can use that instead, and that would just give it maybe a little bit more better look to it. But remember, whatever you use for a steering wheel, you're going to have to use the right peg to put the steering wheel on. So, and then you have the hitch in the back. And this is a bigger hitch than the axle pegs that I've been normally showing you on videos. I'll have information for this pin up in the upper right-hand corner. You'll need 4 of them, or actually you need 6 of them. So that's pretty much it for that. Because one of them, these big pins will go for the smokestack here, and one will go for the radiator cap. And I'll go in more detail on how I do all these as we build this tractor. But that's pretty much what you need for this tractor, is a couple of toy parts and some wood glued together. So we're going to head over to the scroll saw. Or actually, we're going to head over to the drill press, and we're going to drill all these holes. Now, you've got to remember, too, there's a hole that's got to be drilled in here for the steering wheel, too. So that will have to be drilled, too. So we're going to head over to the drill press, drill all these different holes. There's different sizes for each one. And then we'll head over to the scroll saw and cut this all out. So let me get the camera moved and set up, and we'll get this drilled out. Alright guys, here at the drill press. Now, what I didn't mention before, because we're going to start out with this 1-inch Forstner bit to drill this 1-inch hole. But what I didn't mention before is the actual hole for the steering wheel and the hole for the smokestack and the radio cap. We're going to drill them later. Them get drilled after the tractor gets cut out. So the first hole we're going to drill is this 1-inch hole for the motor. I got my Forstner bit in there, and I got it down just so the tip of this bit comes through out to the other side of this block, and you'll see the reason why I do that. Alright, so I drilled that 1-inch hole right there, and I had that bit come through just a little bit. If you can see, there's a little tiny bit of a hole right there. Now I know when I flip my block here, I can just line the bit up on that hole and I'll match up perfectly with the hole. And then I'll be able to punch that piece out, and now we got a nice clean hole on both sides of this tractor. Okay, the next hole, we'll change the bit here. We're going to go with, this is a 1/2-inch Forstner bit, and I like using Forstner bits, or you can get some nice clean holes with them bits. We're going to drill this hole up front on the tractor right here. And again, you want to make sure you run your bit down to your scrap piece and just have that point come through. Now that's going to come through the block of this wood. So we're just going to go up here to the front. Now you can see there's a little hole right here. All I got to do is line that up on the other side. And I got a perfect, nice clean hole. Just pop that scrap piece out. Now I got a nice clean hole for that tractor there. Now, we are going to go on to the next set of holes, which is for the actual axle peg for the wheels. So we will take this bit out. And this one for the axle holes, it's actually a 23/64 bit. Now, depending on what wheels you use, what axle pegs you use, or if you use a dowel for your axle peg, depending on what you use, that'll determine the size of hole you drill here. So just make sure that whatever wheel you use, you drill the right size of hole. I'm using them bigger axle pegs, so a 23/64 bit is what I'm going to be using. So we'll just stick that in there. And we will lower my table here. And we're just going to drill, because it's a lot easier drilling these holes in this toy before you cut this all out. Otherwise, you're trying to hold on to a small piece, and you don't want to chip out around here where you're going to cut with the scroll saw. So we'll just drill these holes through. And that makes a nice clean hole for that. We'll do the same thing over here. All right, so we got our holes drilled for our wheels. And we will take that out. Now, we're going to drill this hole for this hitch. And let me just grab something here quick. All right, as far as the hitch goes, I use all this size of pegs for all my tractors. Anything that's going to pull a wagon, I use this size. And the reason being is because I make wagons for all these different tractors, and all my toys that pull anything will use this size. And you want to make sure that, and I use this drill bit gauge a lot when I do my different sizes of holes, just to check different sizes. But you can see 23/64, that this pin will spin really nice in that size of hole. That's why I use 23/64. And you can see here, if I put that pin in there, you can see I can spin that, so that wheel will spin. And also, let me grab a wheel. Also, because we're using this size of wheel, that wheel spins really nice on that pin. And then I use 23/64 for this, because this will give me enough room to put glue in there. So, all right, as far as the hole goes for the hitch, let me see here. We know we want the hitch right about here. And on my template, let me just quick show you. I do have on my template, you might want to put this on your template if you make one. There's an area right here where the has a notch. Kind of gives you an idea where to put that hole. We're just going to take and draw a line just like that. That's where that hole is going to go. And then we're going to continue that line on the bottom of that tractor. And I'll show you here in a minute. I know it's hard to see. Okay, see, I continue that line on the bottom of that tractor. So now, we know the center of this 1.5 inches is right where the wood is glued together. So basically, that's where you want your hole to be drilled, right down the center. And you want to set your drill bit deep enough to where it comes outside the top of your hitch area. So what we're going to do, and we're going to put that drill in there. We're going to use a 3/8. I'm going to drill a 3/8 hole for that hitch. Now I'll have to move my drill press down a little further. So let me move this down a little deeper. And hopefully this will work. We want to drill past that, so we'll tighten up this table. So, you can see here, we're going to drill right down the center of where the hitch is, and it's going to come right out here. Now we can set the drill press, so when we drill down, we set it so it comes out the bottom. We'll just take it down a little ways, so it comes out the bottom. That way, when you go to cut this out on your saw, you can have a nice clean hole in here, instead of trying to drill this hole after it's all cut out. So basically, we're just going to drill this hole. Drill it down until the drill press stops. Once we know it stops, we know we are far enough through that hitch. See, so we got the hole drilled for the hitch. So now, we're going to head over to the scroll saw, because we can cut this whole tractor out, and then later on we're going to drill these other holes. So let me move the camera, we'll get over to the scroll saw and cut this tractor out. Alright guys, here at the saw, we're just going to cut this tractor out. Shouldn't take too long. I'm using number 5 reverse tooth modified geometry blade. I think that'll work pretty nice for this. So we'll just start cutting this out. You just want to take your time though when you're cutting these out. We're cutting through 1.5 inch thick wood, so Okay, so we got it cut out here. Pop the tractor out. And you got yourself a tractor. Now I see I just made it through with that hole in there. I should be able to clean that out. But all your holes are drilled. You don't have to worry about trying to drill a hole in there for the hitch. The holes for this other parts in the steering wheel will be drilled next. So we're going to head over to the workbench and mark where we're going to put these holes, and then we'll go to the drill press. Okay, here at the workbench here. Now I cleaned out this hole here for the hitch pin. You can't even see where this is glued together, so I like using wood that you just glue together. It looks really nice. And it's using this select pine, this clear pine, it makes a really nice toy. And the reason why I use this size of hole for the hitch is because all my pins, when I make a trailer, this pin is glued in the trailer. So then you can just bring the trailer up and put it in there. Now, you might have to cut this pin off a little bit so it doesn't drag on the ground. But we'll talk all about that later. As far as the smokestack and the radiator cap, we're going to do that hole, and we're going to do the hole for the steering wheel. Basically, there's no certain way to do this. Just pick a spot where you want to put that smokestack. We'll put it right here. And then you can pick a spot. Let's go back a little bit maybe. Put the smokestack right here. And we'll put the radiator cap right here. So there's really no technical place to put that. Just find a place to put the radiator cap right here and the smokestack here. And then as far as the steering wheel, you're just going to put that right in the middle. Right here. So them are the 3 holes that we need to drill last. Now, the smokestack, I use these same big pins. You don't need to drill a hole all the way that deep to put that smokestack in. What you could do is cut a little bit of the smokestack off and just drill the hole that deep. Same with the radiator cap. Obviously, you don't want to drill the whole length of that for the radiator cap. So just cut a little bit of this dowel off with your scroll saw and then drill it that deep. As far as the steering wheel goes, we're going to use this little wheel right here. I'll have all the information up on the screen for that. But the wheel is just basically going to go in there like that. You might want to cut a little bit of this axle peg off right here so you don't have to drill as deep. Just cut a little of that off right there if you can see that. And then we can drill that hole. And that hole there will actually have to be drilled by hand with a hand drill. We'll do that later. So I'm going to cut these dowels off, and then we'll go back and we'll go to the drill press and drill these 2 holes. All right, at the drill press here. Now, as far as your smokestack goes, figure out the height you want that smokestack to be. It really don't matter. I'm not going to give you the measurement. It's just put it up, you know, as far as you'd like to put it up. So, and what I did was took them axle pegs that I had, and I actually cut them shorter. This is for the smokestack, and this is for the radiator cap. So that way I wouldn't have to drill as deep as hole. So the first thing you're going to do is say this is your smokestack. I'm just going to determine how far I want that to stick above my tractor. I know it's kind of hard to see, but let's just say we're going to stick it above so far. We'll just draw a line. So I got a line drawn right here for the smokestack. We're only going to drill that deep. As far as the radiator cap, that goes right down flat on top of the hood. So we're just going to lay that short piece I cut right there. And we're just going to make a line right here. Now that's going to tell me I only need to drill down that deep to get that radiator cap flush. And you want to watch out too, because you don't want to drill down too deep to get into this hole right here. So, and I'm using a 23/64 bit. And the reason why I use that bit is because that is one size bigger than the tenon on this axle peg. That way it'll give me enough room to put glue in there and glue this in there. So we will set the drill press to that depth. And we'll drill this first hole for the smokestack. Now, here's another thing. This tractor, if you just set it on this here piece of wood, it's a little bit of a slant. I just got a 1/2 inch piece of Baltic birch here. If you put the back end on that 1/2 inch piece of Baltic birch, your tractor is going to be pretty level. That way your holes are nice and level going up and down. So just remember that. So there's the hole for the smokestack. Put it in there. And it's not sticking up quite as far as I would have liked it. I can always get another axle peg if I want, but that's basically it. And now we're going to drill the hole for the radiator cap. And you can keep on testing them too to see if they go down far enough. So basically, just drill down far enough to where it's whatever level you want. Now, let me grab another axle peg. If I'm not happy with how far this one's sticking out, I could just grab a different one. So here we go. Here we got the smokestack and the radiator cap holes drilled. Everything looks good. So there you have them. Now we're going to go over to the workbench because we need to use a hand drill to drill that hole for the steering wheel. So I'll get the camera moved and we'll get that drilled. Alright guys, back at the workbench. One more hole to drill. And that will be the hole for this steering wheel. Now the way I do it is I take my vise here and I actually clamp in my tractor and my vise here. Now the hole that we're going to drill for the steering wheel is going to be a 1/4 inch. And the reason why I'm doing a 1/4 inch is because the tenon, the axle peg that I'm going to be using has a 7/32 tenon. So I'm going to go up the next, or actually, you know what? I'm going to change the drill bit here. I said 1/4 inch. I think what we're going to do, let me grab a different drill bit here. Okay, 7:30 seconds. 15/64. Let me grab another drill bit. Okay. That is why my videos are done live and real time, because you do make mistakes. The reason I'm going to be drilling this hole for the steering wheel, 15/64. And the reason why, we're going to do it by hand. It's a lot easier. 15/64, and I'll tell you why. Because the tenon on this axle peg is 7/30 seconds. I go up one size, that way it gives me enough room to add glue, just like I did on the bigger ones for the smokestack and radiator cap. You go up one size, that'll give you enough room to add some glue in there, because we're going to be gluing this in there. So we know we're using a wheel here for the steering wheel. We only have to drill in just a little ways to get this in there. So we're just going to take this. I got my tractor clamped in my workbench. We're just going to go on an angle. And what I did too, you want to remember, I used an awl just to mark a hole right here, just to kind of get a starting point hole. And we're just going to be careful. Now you can go a couple times just to test the depth. We got to go quite a bit deeper. Just a little bit yet. All right, so we got that in there. We'll drill. We can show you. We got the steering wheel in there. We got that bit in there. Now, I did come through. You can't see it at all, but I did come through when I drilled it. I came through this big hole in the bottom. You can't really see it, but the way to get around that, if you don't want to come through this bottom hole, just shorten up your. Just take and cut your dowel, your whatever you're using to go through your wheel here, or whatever you're using, cut it a little bit shorter so you don't have to drill as deep. But you cannot even see that hole underneath there, so it's no big deal. But there's your steering wheel, there's your smokestack, and there's your radiator cap. So we got all the holes drilled. I'm gonna do this off camera. We're gonna sand this all up nice and smooth, soften up all the edges, and then we'll be ready to assemble this and put this all together. All right, I want to just talk about one more thing we got to do to make this all work, to fit. Got a steering wheel in, we got a smokestack, radiator cap, and we're using these larger axle pegs for the wheels. These axle pegs are actually too long. If you go, we're going to have to cut these off. If you take these axle pegs, let's just tip this upside down. See if you can see this or not. When you go out and look here, these are actually too long. You can see right here. You're going to have to cut a little off of this axle pegs to make them fit so you can glue them all in there. So basically what you're going to do is just, what I do is I can see right where this two blocks of wood are glued together. It's actually pretty hard to see, but it's right in there. So basically what I do is take a wheel, and I'll go like this, and I'll just we'll just cut off so much right there. We'll cut that much off each one. You can mark every one, or you can just take a guess on each one. Each one will get so much cut off of it. That way, when you put these axle pegs in, they won't hit each other in the middle of this block. So let me quick, I'm going to run over to the saw, and we're actually going to cut off these 4 axle pegs. And then I'll be right back after I get these all cut off. Alright, so what I did was I ended up just cutting these off, cutting the axle peg off a little shorter, so both these wheels would fit in there without the axle pegs actually hitting each other in the middle right here. And I did the same thing in the back. So it gives you a pretty good amount of axle pegs to sit in there and glue. I could have left them just maybe a little bit longer, but they'll work. So everything is all ready. Everything fits, all ready to get glued together. We just have to sand everything, sand this tractor, and then we'll glue everything all together. So in this particular tractor, for the purpose of the video, we're just going to leave this all the plain wood color. We're not going to paint it. We're not going to put any stain or anything on it. We'll just sand this body up and glue the wheels on and all this other stuff, and we will just leave it at that. So I'll be back as soon as I get everything all sanded up. Alright, so we are all ready to get things glued together. Got this all sanded up really nice. We'll just start out with the front wheels here. Basically, we're just going to stick some glue in there and put these wheels on. It doesn't really take a whole lot of glue. We'll just try to get some glue in here and get these. You just want to make sure that the wheels turn all the time. Just stick the wheel in there, turn that axle just a little bit, and then as you're gluing things together and as this is drying, make sure you move them wheels, make sure nothing gets stuck and glued tight. And we'll do the same thing with the back here. Put some glue in there. Now I will say my wife does all the gluing, so this is something that I normally don't do, but for this video I am doing it. But my wife does all the gluing, she does all the staining, painting, all that stuff. Get that in there nice. Now, everything rolls good. Every so often you want to roll it just to make sure the wheels don't get glued tight. Now, as far as the smokestack, we just put a little glue in that. You don't want to put too much in because, like I said, there's only enough room in there for a little bit of glue. Give that a couple turns, smokestack, and do the same thing with the radiator cap. Stick a little in there. Get that glued tight. Alright, so now it's starting to look like a tractor. And the last thing is the steering wheel. Just put some glue in there. And make sure that your steering wheel turns. Now remember, on this tractor, remember I said we accidentally drilled through the middle right here. But you can't see it. Just make sure there's no glue coming out there. And everything is turning good. So basically, there you have it. There's a tractor. It's very easy to make. I make a lot of these tractors. And it goes a lot quicker when you're making a bunch of these because you can set up your tools and do all the drilling at once instead of keep on switching back and forth from drill bits and all this stuff. That makes it a lot easier. If you were to paint this tractor, like this tractor right here has got a stain on it, make sure that before you do any gluing, you paint all the parts before you glue it. Whatever color you want, different parts. You paint them before you glue it. It's a lot easier painting it before you glue it. This tractor here was painted green, and then I take a torch over the green paint, and that gives it that older look right here. So that's an idea. Or you could stain. I am going to make some of these all different colors of stain. That looks nice too. So you'd have to stain all the different parts before you glue it. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, and give me a thumbs up if you like the video. I do have several more tractors that I will be doing videos on. This is just one of a few tractors that I got. They're very easy to make. I'll have a PDF. Pattern of this tractor in my description, which will have the actual pattern of the tractor, and I'll probably put some other measurements on it too. But as far as the wheels and the steering wheel and the smokestack and stuff, you can use whatever you want. I've used the 3-inch wheels, the 2-inch wheels, just a wheel for the steering wheel. Here's a regular steering wheel that you can buy off that craftparts.com. You can get all different types of things. You don't have to do it exactly like this, but this is the pattern that I did. Also, that craftparts.com sells these little people. This one's probably a little bit too big for this tractor, but you can drill a hole on the top of the seat right here, so you can actually put a little person in the tractor if you want. I think this one's kind of big for it, but it might not. I don't know. They do have different sizes of people, so you can check that out. But other than that, it's a nice little tractor. And I'm going to be doing videos on other tractors. And I also got wagons that I do. I'll probably do some videos on that. But basically, I'm just going to be doing the tractors that I built. And so that should be about it for this video. I hope you liked it, and we'll see you on the next video.